Today I want to talk about large-scale assessment. Why do they matter so much across education system worldwide? Basically, we are talking about a standardized test given to a huge number of learners at once. Sometimes across the whole province, sometimes across the entire countries. Here's the thing though. These assessments are not about checking on one particular learner. That is not the point at all. The real aim is much bigger, getting a sense of how an entire education system is performing. And once you have that kind of information, it opens doors. Government, education department, and school can actually see what's working and what is falling short. From there, they are able to make decisions grounded in evidence, not guesswork. For today, I will focus mainly on PIRLS, the progress in international reading literature study, and I will also touch briefly on TIMSS, the trends in international mathematics and science study. What I really want to get into is why these assessments matter here in South Africa specifically and how their finds can inform teaching and learning in my own educational context. Now that we've got better understanding of what large-scale assessment are, let's take a closer look at two of the best-known international assessment programs, PIRLS and TIMSS. Let's start with PIRLS, which stand for the Progress in International Reading Literature Study. PIRLS focus on the reading literature skills for grade 4 learners, but when we talk about reading, we are not simplifying asking whether learners can read or pronounce words correctly. The real focus is whether they can understand what they read, interpret the meaning, make connection, and use the information in meaningful ways. This is important because grade 4 is the stage where learners are expected to move from learning to read to reading to learn. From the point onwards, reading becomes the foundation of learning across subjects such as mathematics, science, and social sciences. TIMSS, which stand for Trends in International Mathematics Science Study, it focuses on learners' knowledge and understanding of mathematics and science. However, it goes beyond testing whether the learners can remember facts or formulas. It also examines whether they can apply what they have learned, solving problems, and use logic reasoning in different situations. In other words, TIMSS look at how effective learners can use their knowledge, not just whether they can recall it. When we're looking at PIRLS and TIMSS together, they give us a broader understanding of how well an education system is preparing learners. They highlight the strength, relieve the areas where learners are struggling, and provide reliable evidence that government, education departments, and school can use to improve teaching, learning, and education policies. So, how did South Africa actually perform in PIRLS 2021? Honestly, not well. There is still a lot of work to be done. Grade 4 learners came in with an average score of 288. The internationally average sits at 500, so you can immediately see how big the gap is. What really stands out is that 81% of grade 4 learners did not even reach the lower international benchmark. That is not a small gap. It means most learners are still struggling with the basic of reading comprehensions, not the more advanced stuff. A few things are driving these results. COVID-19 is a big one. It disrupted schools for a long period, and honestly, we are still dealing with effects today. Then there is a learning poverty, where many children reach the age of 10 without being able to read and understand a simple test. Add to that inequality access to education resources, major difference between schools and language barriers, and you start to see why the results look the way they do. None of this is easy to see, but it's useful. It shows us exactly where the gaps are, and that is really what matters. Education departments, schools, and teachers can clearly see where support is needed most instead of relying on guesswork. A large-scale assessment actually worth this for South Africa? I would say yes, without hesitation. They give us an honest picture, sometimes an uncomfortable one, of where our education system is doing well and where it's falling short. Take away PIRLS and TIMSS and it will become much harder to pin down what learners are struggling with or where support needs to go. For South Africa specifically, this assessment do much more than simplify ranking us against other countries. They point to real issues, reading difficulties, gaps in mathematics and science, inequality between schools and provinces that we cannot ignore. That is evidence matter. It allows the Department of Basic Education to make informed decisions about the curriculum, teachers training, learner support, and other areas of education system. Schools are also benefiting because they cannot use the finding to identify areas where improvement is needed. Now, assessment alone will not fix anything. Let's be clear about that. What they do is giving us a reliable information that we can act on. In a country like South Africa, where learners face very different challenges depending on whether they live and attend school, this kind of evidence is not optional. It is necessary if we want teaching and learning to improve for everyone. When I think about my own classroom, the value of large-scale assessment becomes real clear. I teach at Khanyisa School for Visually Impaired, working with learners who have different levels of visual impaired and a wide range of learning needs. In a context like mine, knowing exactly where learners are struggling matters a lot. Assessments like this give teachers a real evidence that we can use to identify learning gaps and adapt our teaching. In my own classroom, I rely on adapting resources such as Braille, title material, and assistive technology to make learning accessible. When I look at findings from PIRLS and TIMSS, they remind me that literature, problem solving, and critical thinking need to remain a priority, no matter what the learning environment looks like. Honestly, they also push me to keep reflecting on my own teaching, to keep looking for a better way to engage my learners to help them get the most out of their potential. Maybe the best thing this assessment teach me just how much inclusive education matters. Every learner deserves a real shot at success, and that means adapting how we teach so barriers to learning are removed. For me, this is not just the national score. It is about using the evidence to make better decisions and create real opportunities for the learners sitting in front of me every day. So, to close off, I really do think large-scale assessment like PIRLS and TIMSS generally matter for improving education. They help us to see where learners are doing well, where they are struggling, and what actually needs to change. South Africa still has a long way to go, no question about that, but this assessment gives us something solid to work from when making better decisions about teaching and learning. But this assessment gives us something solid to work from when making better decisions about teaching and learning. As a teacher though, I do not think of them as a test result sitting in a report somewhere. For me, they provide the way to reflect on how I teach, respond to what my learners need, and keep pushing myself to do better for them. Thank you for listening.